All right, so hello Science Fans. My name is Gabby and I am a member of the Saskatchewan Science Center's Go Science Outreach team. Today I will be talking to a very special guest, Lori Johnson, from the Saskatchewan Burrowing Owl Interpretive Center. So we are going to be introducing you to an extremely unique little animal. How are you doing today, Lori?
I'm doing very well, Gabby. Thank you. How about you?
Good, awesome. I am really good as well. Thank you. So, Lori, tell me a little bit more about the Saskatchewan Burrowing Owl Interpretive Center. What is it all about?
Well, our center has actually been in existence for about 22 years now, and we came about as a partnership between a couple of different nature organizations in response to the burrowing owls being listed as an endangered species here in Canada. And we were actually quite lucky here in Moose Jaw to have a small population of burrowing owls that used various locations around the city as nesting sites. And we saw that kind of as an opportunity to start educating the public about what was happening with our wild population and some of the things that we could do to help conserve not just the burrowing owls, but their prairie habitat and all the other species reliant on that habitat. So basically, we're an educational facility. We're here to, allow people to do some learning about burrowing owls and actually have an opportunity to see live burrowing owls, it's getting harder and harder to do that in the wild.
Awesome. So the center is located in Moose Jaw. Where are you located in Moose Jaw?
Yes, we're actually located right within the city limits of Moose Jaw. We're on 250 Thatcher Drive East in Moose Jaw. We're actually located on the Moose Jaw exhibition grounds. And that historically was one of the places where the burrowing owls nested. So it was a perfect place to have the center.
And so you obviously have burrowing owls. Do you have any other kinds of animals, or how many animals do you have at the center?
We actually have 9 burrowing owls in total at the moment. Our population does vary, depending on whether we do any breeding or we receive any injured burrowing owls from, other locations. But right now we have 9 burrowing owls, a short-eared owl, and a pair of Richardson's ground squirrels, or gophers as we more commonly refer to them as.
Very cool. So I mentioned earlier that you have an animal that you'd like to share with us. Are they ready to come and be shared?
He's spent the last few minutes getting ready, so I'm sure he's very excited to come out and see everybody. So I'm just going to pop off camera and I will grab him for everybody.
Perfect. All right.
This is actually Cricket. He is our oldest ambassador owl, or imprinted burrowing owl, which means that he's been hand-raised specifically so he could help us with our educational programmings. And he gets to come out and meet the public. And he's not behaving very well right now. Like the rest of us, he's not used from working from home. So he's been hand-raised in order to be able to, allow people the opportunity to meet burrowing owls in person. So when we go out to classrooms or other places, we're actually able to take Cricket with us.
Oh, very cool. So he is an imprinted burrowing owl, is what you mentioned?
Yes.
Yeah, so what exactly does that mean?
Imprinting is just the process by which an animal is raised. So rather than imprinting on his own parents or his mom and dad owls, he's actually imprinted on humans. So it makes them safer to handle. It makes them more comfortable in a situation that a wild burrowing owl wouldn't be comfortable with. Mm-hmm. Educational facilities like ours will often do that with their educational birds or other animals, just because it makes them more comfortable and easier to handle.
Absolutely. He looks very comfortable with you. So clearly you are his mom.
I actually hand-raised Cricket and his sister Coco, who works with the Manitoba Burrowing Owl Recovery Program as their educational owl.
Awesome. So is he the only imprinted burrowing owl at your center, or do you have more children?
We do. We actually have 3 imprinted burrowing owls in total. So there's Cricket, Peanut, and Pilot. And they'll all take turns rotating through the program and going out and meeting people and teaching them about the burrowing owls.
Cool. So they're pretty busy, clearly.
Normally, yes, they are quite busy. Right now, they're kind of enjoying the downtime that they have, being able to be a more normal burrowing owl, doing the things that they like to do every day.
That's fair. You mentioned that burrowing owls are an endangered species. Can you tell us why that is?
They are an endangered species here in Canada, and there are a variety of reasons why they are endangered. As with most endangered species, habitat loss or fragmentation does play a big part. But with these guys, you also get some compounding factors as well. The loss of other burrowing mammals, like gophers and badgers and prairie dogs, have affected these owls because although they do live in burrows, they don't actually dig their own. So they rely on those other types of animals to provide them with the burrows. And without those populations, they don't have, the specific type of nesting area that they require to raise a family. And then also the use of pesticides have affected our population quite a bit because these guys will eat a large majority of insects during their lifetime. And of course, if those insects are treated with pesticides, they're ingesting, secondary poisoning, and that can affect their health and reproductive status as well.
So you mentioned that burrowing owls don't actually make their own burrows. Would you say that that's something that makes them pretty unique and special?
Burrowing owls, they are the only owl species in the world to nest underground in burrows. And, unlike a lot of other bird species, they don't dig their own nests. They will move into burrows that have been left behind. They can do some general renovations of their own, but they require the larger fossorial mammals to do the digging for them here in Saskatchewan.
Right.
So yeah, that makes them fairly unique.
Hard of being on camera.
At least we're getting lots of action shots.
Yeah.
Anybody? Is that Gabby?
I wonder if he's
right at you. Yeah.
Or hears me.
Yeah. Good boy.
So where can you find these owls in the world?
There is a worldwide population of burrowing owls, but they're a different subspecies than the ones that we have here in Canada, which are classified as the Western burrowing owl. So in Canada, you find them in the southern parts of Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta, as well as in the interior portion of BC around the Okanagan Valley. And then you'll find the other subspecies throughout some of the states and down into Central and South America as well.
Cool. What else can I ask you? So what does Cricket like to eat, or what do burrowing owls like to eat in general? I know you mentioned insects. Does he like any other things?
They are kind of an opportunistic predator. So if it's smaller than they are and they can catch it, they're going to eat it. Mm-hmm. But the bulk of their diet is small rodents and insects, but they've been known to take small birds, small reptiles, or amphibians as well. Cricket, Pilot, and Peanut has also been known to steal my lunch whenever they have the opportunity to.
Do you like to share, or they like to steal?
A little bit of both, actually, yeah.
Or maybe I should say borrow.
Yes, there you go. Yes, because I usually do get it back later in some form.
And how old is Cricket? You said he was your oldest burrowing owl at the center?
He is our oldest imprinted burrowing owl, and he is going to be 6 years this year.
6 years old.
6, I believe, yes.
So is that old?
For a burrowing owl, that is getting to be a senior owl. Typically, in the wild, they only live between 3 and 6 years. So he's at the upper end of that spectrum right now. However, in captivity, we've seen them live up to 12 years. So we're hoping that Cricket will be with us for much longer.
Yes, absolutely. He's going to break the record probably.
The oldest burrowing owl we actually had at the center lived to be 11 and a half.
That is pretty old.
It is, yeah.
Very awesome. So obviously they have a lot of things that are happening to them that are making them endangered. What kind of predators do they have in the wild?
Unfortunately, due to their small size and the fact that they are a ground-dwelling bird, these guys do have a long list of predators. Anything from the smaller carnivores like weasels up to the larger carnivores, including coyotes and larger canids. But some of their top natural predators are larger birds of prey, like hawks, and even other owls, such as the great horned owl. And as human habitat starts to overlap in some of the areas that you find burrowing owls, even domesticated dogs and cats have been known to hunt burrowing owls.
Oh, yeah. So what would you say their biggest predator is?
Probably the larger birds of prey, the hawks, badgers as well. And badgers can be quite dangerous to burrowing owls because they're actually able to dig down into the burrow, which means that they have access to the eggs and the chicks as well.
Mm-hmm. So is there anything that we as humans can do to help these burrowing owls?
There are a few things that we can do, and probably one of the most important thing is just to start learning a little bit more about some of the native wildlife that we have in our own backyards. Mm-hmm. We tend to hear a lot about tigers and elephants and rhinos as endangered animals, and we tend to forget that right here in Canada, right here in Saskatchewan, we've got many species of animals and plants that are at risk of becoming endangered or possibly even extinct. Mm-hmm. So learning about our wildlife is one of the best things that we can do. And then there are more hands-on approaches, like garden-friendly or wildlife-friendly gardens are something that we can all do. And, supporting local conservation efforts or local wildlife efforts are very beneficial as well. And then you're not just helping one species, but you're helping a group of species, because within nature, everything is interconnected. So, that helps a lot when you can start to learn about, the ecosystems that we have right here in our own backyards and the species that call them home.
Absolutely. Awesome. Do you think that if, so I am sitting, I'm going to restart that. Back up. If I would like to help cricket right now from sitting at home on my couch, how could I do that?
One of the best ways is to, support local wildlife conservation. And a lot of times you can do that, by providing monetary donations or supplies, and we do have a donation system set up for us here at the Burrowing Owl Center, where all those donations go right back into helping us care for the owls. It can be expensive to take care of wildlife, particularly feeding and housing them. Mm-hmm. So all the donations that we receive either go right back towards caring for our owls and supporting our educational programmings. And as a nonprofit organization, a lot of wildlife, rehabbers and educators benefit quite greatly from monetary donations.
Yes, absolutely. Would you say that like a good chunk of your money goes towards just feeding them?
Yes. Even though he's not very big, cricket can eat anywhere between 1 and 3 mice a day. And a mouse costs us about $1 per mouse. So, it can cost between $400 and $500 per owl to keep them fed.
Wow.
So that is, a large chunk of our money goes towards feeding these little guys.
Absolutely. Well, that's really good to know. So I'm really glad to know I can help cricket from my couch, because that's all we can do right now, right? So.
Exactly. Right into the camera. Except for a close-up. You goofball.
Speaking of close-ups, Cricket, do you think that we could bring him a little bit closer just to see some of his like special features that he has that kind of make burrowing owls unique? Oh.
One of the most unique things about these little guys are these long, skinny legs. He's not standing quite upright, but he does have very long, tall legs, which give him better visibility being a ground owl. So he can see over the grasses and the plants that are growing up around his burrow.
And I'm sure people will ask as well. I gotta ask about Cricket's wings. He's looking, obviously he's a little bit old. Is that just because of aging?
It is. He, as we were saying, he would be classified as a senior owl, and they can develop arthritis in their joints just as we do as we age. So he is fully flighted, but he doesn't hold them up as close or as tight as a younger owl would, just because it's more comfortable this way for him.
Right.
Also, being a captive owl, he doesn't get the normal amount of outdoor exercise that a wild owl would get, because of course his food is delivered right to him. He doesn't have to worry about that. He doesn't have to worry about, you know, flying away or running away from predators. So they live a bit more of a sedentary life than they would in the wild when they're a captive owl.
Right. Well, he is doing a very good job at his role at the Burrowing Owl Center here. He clearly is your animal ambassador for the center, and it's
very much so. They're the perfect mascots.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this interview with us. We really appreciate it, and I hope I can speak for everyone that we loved learning about these cool, unique little owls, and hopefully we'll see more of them in the future. And we really appreciate as well your efforts in fighting their extinction. That would be very sad.
It is. It's unfortunate that that any animal species faces, extinction, and a lot of that has to do with, human involvement. So we need to step up and right some of the problems that we've created and allow these guys to be able to live a wild, natural life. So thank you so much for reaching out to us and giving us a chance to introduce Cricket to everybody from the Science Center.
Yes, absolutely. Cricket.